Invite you along to join Josh and Skippy on this journey. This is Monday Morning Food Truck.
Powered by Riverside.
Good morning, Skippy, and good morning, Michaela. I see you had joined on real quick. And our special all-day secret special guest host, Isaac, from the deep south in 100-degree Halloweens.
Texas.
Morning,
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. All right, guys. Well, hey, listen, I'm just going to jump in here and just say this is going to be a 1900-part series of what I have learned thus far. So this is part one of a lot. So
I mean, learning from the show or just in general?
Oh, it's going to be everything I've learned in food trucking. So this will be a 1900-part series, folks. So
Excellent.
let's buckle up,
one.
Bubba.
Right.
Strap that butcher belt around your belly and let's roll.
All right.
So I wanted to say thanks. Before we get started, I just want to say thanks to Josh and Skippy for everything they have taught since the conception of this podcast.
Taught is a strong word.
I have, yeah, it is a strong word, but there has been so many nuggets of gold in each episode that you go back and listen and you listen and you listen and you just extrapolate the things that have really helped. I couldn't have done this without you guys.
Well, thank you.
I couldn't have done this without this podcast, to be honest with you. There's not a lot of books written. There's not a lot of good forums out there to really learn, professionally how to run in the truck per se, versus like a home truck, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that we've done thus far has been because of the time and dedication you guys have put in this podcast. So you guys undersell it. For sure, and I understand why, but just know that the listeners that really do apply this and what you guys teach, even though you guys don't think about it as teaching, it's gold, and for a lot of different reasons. And what I like about Skippy's operation is he's a one-man show, and I'm of a belief of a business owner. This is not my first business. We have 5 other businesses that I own and run. I'm a firm believer that you as the owner have to know everything about that business and work it solo for a good period of time to get that revenue up to be able to pay for somebody, but it really makes you think about operations. I love to see Skippy grow in his catering and his business, especially single ran truck. Josh, your dedication to the customer experience, is spot on. We have a sign in our truck that says, today is to serve. Today is the opportunity to serve this customer today, not tomorrow's customer, and that just speaks to the truth of making every interaction a positive interaction with each customer, and your dedication to that plus your marketing, it's you guys are on the right path and has really helped us do this food truck, business. And I'm a chef by trade. I've been a chef all of my life, and the cooking comes the easy part with this food trucking adventure. I think it's running the whole operation from the front and back end that a lot of people don't see. It's the get up early in the mornings, inventory, pack the truck, drive, set up, serve, which is the easy part to me. Break down, inventory, drive back, try to sleep, shopping, scheduling, all those things that are
There's sleep involved?
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you, Skippy.
Real quick, Isaac, Justin says hi, by the way.
Hi, Justin, you're awesome. I want to speak with you more since our first initial concept. So Justin, he is a spaghetti monster. We are also we're a fresh pasta food truck, a little bit different than Justin's. We hand make our pasta daily, and our operation is a little bit different. On our truck, since it's hot in Texas, I built 3 AC units inside the truck because it's so hot in Texas. And the only thing that we have as far as heat goes is we have induction burners. We have a almost like a defat fryer, but it holds water to be able to cook the pasta. We have a hot box, which I use every once in a while. We have a steam table, which I only use every once in a while, to keep the heat down. So the majority of the stuff that we do is in our commissary. So we'll make all the sauces, we'll portion them out to 12 ounces, we'll bag, seal, cryovac, and freeze those. The pasta we make fresh, we bag those up to 9 ounces. So to order, I drop the pasta, I drop the sauce, marry them together, season, garnish, out the window in about 6 to 8 minutes per ticket time. And that's how we do it. And we're still trying to figure out, like, Justin is way bigger than we are, and so I'm starting to extrapolate kind of the things he does in a bigger setting, so we can apply it in our setting. So it's been a wild ride so far.
Well, awesome. I appreciate the introduction, Isaac, and the overly kind words. Yeah, we over or undersell it because it's from day one. Skippy and I have been. I mean, we're still learning how to do it and the right way to do things. Obviously, there's 1,000 different good ways to do it, and just as many wrong ways. And I think we're getting through just about all of both. So
yeah, that's the beauty of it, right? You're sharing your guys' experience. You've done it longer than Skippy. Skippy has done it longer than us new folk, and so you guys bring all the unique, experiences. Like Skippy, used to hate catering. Well, that's the key thing. If you want to study what good business is, you have to have a clear understanding and grasp of why businesses in that particular field and other fields fail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we do it.
Bezos has made lots of mistakes.
Yes.
Gates has made lots of mistakes.
And FYI, for those people on the YouTube that don't notice Isaac's camera's on or off, he's in witness protection. So
I have a very zealous ex-wife that
we're very big in prison.
Yes.
I'm calling for the Penn State of Texas.
And India. Yes,
Well,
actually, truly, Isaac is the head chef at the local penitentiary. He just likes to call it the hotel.
Yeah.
Just take it from there.
Hotel. Yeah.
Hey, those serving tables have wheels on them. It counts.
It does. It does count for sure. So,
basically, a cafeteria.
Yeah.
We're a new food truck. Our food truck called Ola Pasta Food Truck. We started officially at the end of August of this year. Like I said, this is not the only business we own, so we were able to really have an amazing custom built food truck made here in San Antonio. And just to talk about that process just a little bit, we researched the top 5 builders in the United States, and we found some, and then we came across Cruising Kitchens out of here in San Antonio. And they built Gordon Ramsay's Hell on Wheels, which is a cool food truck. And, so I stalked their Instagram and their Facebook and went down, took a tour, and we signed the contract in October of 2023. And with the intention of picking it up mid to beginning of August. And it was a rough go. It's a $250,000 food truck. It's beautiful. The wrap job is beautiful. The inside is beautiful. There's been a lot of problems, I'll be honest. I don't necessarily would pick that company again. I don't think the more I've had issues with this company through not fulfilling their obligations contractually, the more I'm finding out I should have went with a company in Los Angeles that are actually engineers instead of just taking a truck and used UPS truck and building onto it. There's more of a science from an engineering standpoint, which I'm learning a little bit more about. And it was a lot of money for the food truck, but we wanted something custom made, specific to what our needs were, and it's just been a rough ride. But I think we're gonna have to go and go through the lawsuit with them just to get what was on the contract. And the more I've researched it with the legalities of it, the more I see the lawsuits that have been launched against that company. And I don't
It's
know.
got to
if
make you
they'll-
feel good.
You know what? I tell you, Josh, to be honest with you, I saw some of this as that time period from October to August was progressing in time, and you know I blatantly asked the CEO about it, and his name is Cameron Davies, and he said no, these are all these aren't true, and I took it for face value, and as I saw my truck not being worked on until the last 3 weeks of the build, and I've gotten conversations on tape and in text from the guys on the floor that said they rushed the build, and you know what I mean. So I don't know what's gonna. I tell everybody this the walkaway should be make sure you do an enormous amount of research on the builder before you take on anything, and it doesn't have to be a $250,000 food truck. It could be a 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 food truck. It doesn't matter. Do a lot of research on the company beforehand. Because it's an asset that you're buying, and more so, it's an asset that you have to drive. And our truck had a lot of problems. The first week, the transmission lines blew, and then we found the brake lines to be severed, and then we found more rot in the tires. There's all these little leaks, all this fun stuff that cost you money to get it done right. We had to go to a diesel mechanic to get a lot of the work done. They've been amazing. So the walkaway is just to, do the research. We'll make the money back, and we won't use that builder again, and we will probably sue that builder, just because they didn't meet the contractual standpoints of what they promised and what we paid for. And they do this cool thing, Josh, where they say, hey, we gave you so much stuff for free, and you're so ungrateful. And then you're like, yeah, I didn't ask for that stuff. I wanted the stuff on the contract. The big thing is we and Justin will appreciate this. We purchased a leveling kit, $13,000 leveling kit that's ran by hydraulics. So you pull up to a spot and it's uneven, you just press a button and it will even out your surface, which is important for anybody really doing any pasta work or anybody doing a lot of fry work. And that the guy said, hey, it's going to be 4 weeks until it comes, and we're like, all right. Well, that 4 weeks was at August, and we still haven't gotten it yet. So we want the money back, and they refuse to pay it back, and that's where we are with all that fun stuff. So. But we have it on the road, and we've been doing okay. And some of our pain points have been, we, as I was telling you, Josh, I thought the apartment complexes would be the holy grail. We were booked up from the end of the year, starting in the end of August, all the way through the end of December, with apartment complexes, and we've kind of had to back that out a little bit, just as we get more sales history on an apartment complexes. We're just seeing that some of them are killer, some of them do great, and then some of them are really poor. Those $100 nights or those $80 nights for a 3-hour service, is just not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna. Our holy grail, right? Our first stretch goal is a $250,000 a year. That's our first real stretch goal, and it's not going to get us to that holy grail. So we're starting to find out that, and even a bar, like there's a bar I tried twice, and the sales were shitty. And the last night I was there, we did more people in the community and nobody from the bar came, and that was our telltale sign that particular bar wasn't going to be good. We found neighborhoods to be good, Richie HOA neighborhoods. And we did one the other night. It was $500, and the $500 is a lot to us. I know it's not a lot to you guys yet, but just remember we're at the beginning of our journey. And so that exposure is important to us. And we've done some lunches, which are killer, which are a whole nother beast. And we just want to get to that holy grail. So we're just trying to find out, leverage that sales data, and see where the good things are and the bad things are. We haven't done any festivals yet, really. We did a church lunch last Saturday, and I thought it was going to tank, but we ended up doing, $300-400, which is again a lot for us, and that was only a 2-hour service. And but I do like your guys' numbers are so impressive that You know, I hope to get there in due time. So.
I want to touch on your bar location real quick, and then we'll all get into our last weeks here. Kind of stick to our regular shit show format, and then we'll pick some other stuff up. So first, Justin says he found his leveling kit in the corner of his garage, a custom cut of 2x4 and 4x4s. Works 80% of the time, 50% of the time. So. Good old fashioned food truck ingenuity there. And your bar, you said most of the people came from the community versus the bar. I've talked about Wiseman Distillery ad nauseum on the podcast. It's our Friday lunch location. As of right now, they don't even open until 2. 98% of our customer base for the entire 11 to 7 time that we're there comes from outside, and that's fine with me. You know, as long as we're getting people and the people know that we're going to be there, I don't care if they come from 3 states over or they come from the business that we're set up at. As long as the business doesn't care, as long as the business is happy we're there and they're not charging me rent, I don't care where the customers come from.
Yeah, that is good, and that was validation for us to know that our IG, our Instagram stuff was working. Is when the community came to us. It was just sad that the bar, and you're right. I'm thankful for the community.
And so don't discount that location because you're not getting people from the business you're set up at. As long as you can build a following in that immediate community and people know that you're going to be there, the whole idea is serving customers. So having a spot and serving customers. So if you can get them, you can get them. So I mean, some of those spots are weird because you're not serving the people that you thought you'd be serving. But if you can build up a clientele that you're their favorite, Saturday spot now. Then
that's the hard part.
Steve says good morning.
So, Steve.
Hi, Steve. All right, Skippy.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, he is still there. I thought maybe he stepped away.
Nope.
How was your week, Skippy?
It was definitely it was a Monday through Friday. Absolutely was.
Did you work this last week?
I
don't remember.
I worked 2 days.
Oh.
I'm pretty much done with the food truck. I have 2 more events in November.
I'll buy it from you.
I told you there's one for sale.
Yours. I want yours.
No, you don't want mine.
I'll give you 20.
That's probably not
cash.
All right.
How were your 2 days?
We had a catering. We had a catering at the National Child Safety Council. Cool place. A bunch of young people playing with remote control cars when I walked in. Obviously, police and fire cars. The feedback was it was best brisket they ever had, and they're going to use us again. And of course, they wanted to know how I made the cornbread.
How do you make your cornbread? Is it a secret, or no, we won't say?
Same way you do, Josh. Same way you do, bud.
Same recipe.
Same recipe.
I have found a lot of people use the same recipe. I think we all went to the same website.
I think we all did. And then I had our normal roadside on Wednesday. It was a banger most of the day. Did over 1,000. That was all day. Pretty much all day, but it was very, very windy. Definitely did not have the awning out, but it was a beautiful day. Did receive confirmation that the floor is done in the cafe.
Nice.
After the podcast, going over to meet with the electrician to see what still needs to be done with that, so we can get the outside lights. We're targeting opening December 1st. So that's good.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, that's cautiously optimistic.
It's going to be a different beast, that's for sure.
Halloween, it wasn't vending or catering or anything like that. It wasn't anything barbecue related, but that's my wife's favorite holiday. And the local or a local theater was hosting the guy who played Michael Myers in the last 3 Halloween trilogies or Halloween movies. Yeah. And so I took her for her birthday, which is on the 3rd, up there to meet him. Cool dude, very cool dude. about 6'4", about 60 years old. Definitely was not wearing the mask. So signed a picture for her, and then after the meet and greet was a screening with him doing commentary of Halloween Kills, and it was kind of cool asking him questions about his life as this iconic character. The one funny story he said was he did a movie where he was a fighter and Tom Cruise was in it, and when he met Tom Cruise, he's like, Tom Cruise couldn't whoop a 7-year-old boy. It was so horrible. And then when asked about Jamie Lee Curtis, he opened it saying that she's a bitch. But other words, he was kidding. He said she's the empowerment of, or she's the definition of woman empowerment. And if you've ever seen her Facebook page, you definitely could follow that. And then that's it. We laid low pretty much the whole weekend, deep cleaned the trailer out, and just getting ready for World Foods coming up this week.
Excellent. I'm going to touch on a couple YouTube comments real quick. Justin says, never mind. Justin says he's parked at a brewery all week this week. Had a Facebook ad running since last week. Going after the community, the bar patrons will be there looking for more. And then Steve Rodriguez says one of Bill Moore's beliefs is that you can bring from your core guests, and not to expect your venue to supply your potential sales.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that.
Yep.
It was just disheartening, I guess, when you go and nobody from the bar.
And I mean, you see all those people. Yeah.
And there's a difference between to me, right, a bar and a brewery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this bar was in a strip mall, and it didn't look like a lot of people there. You know, didn't look like the type of people that might go to a food truck,
right,
per se.
Yeah. What's disheartening to me sometimes, like when we're set up at those places and you see pizza deliveries come in, or you go to a business that asked you to come out, and all of a sudden you see Jimmy John show up with like 12 bags of food. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
we could have supplied food for your meeting or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Jason says a Chef Pierre doesn't give away any of those cornbread secrets. And that's right. Chef Pierre's lips are sealed.
And his boss, Sarah Lee.
That's a good one.
Jason also says, Skippy, you should have had. Oops! Oh, dang it! You should have created a sandwich and had him sign a picture and had him endorse it.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Well,
the slasher. Now with razor blades.
That did not happen. He was a very big dude, though.
A big man.
He was.
Well, good, Skippy. I'm glad that you had a nice, relaxing week. I did.
Go
Lions! Hey, another Lions victory. Did they win? Did they beat? Who did they play? Who did they play? In a monsoon.
Bye.
Yeah, in a monsoon. I was surprised how that game turned out. I'm just gonna say that. Not that the outcome, but that it was so easy. Let's see here.
Ooh, don't say those words. I don't.
Easy.
I don't think it was easy.
That was an easy victory.
Eh.
Was it ever in doubt?
No.
Past the first half of the first quarter.
They came out in the lead, which is good, and their defense was. The whole Brian Branch thing really pissed me off. But
I said he was going to be ejected as soon as it happened, and he should have been. He lowered his head, led with his head into a head. He should have been ejected. Him flipping off everybody else, I liked. I think that was a BS call. But
yeah, well, whatever.
I think Square just went down.
What else is new?
I wonder if Are you switching?
No.
Then.
The problem is, so I use Square Banking, as I've told everybody, and I received an email on Saturday that my Square debit card was being canceled.
Uh-oh.
So I'm thinking it's a scam. So I'm looking at it, and it came from Square. Called the customer service line, talked to Rajib. They said it was canceled because they're providing new cards with higher security features. And I'm like, can you just make the damn card and send it to me and then we'll do it? Like, I have a big event coming up this week that I'm going to use the card for. So they're like, oh, well, you can use the virtual card. You know, we've already given you new numbers, and it's on the Square app where you can put it in your Google Pay or Apple Wallet or whatever.
Right.
But I'm like just, just.
Yeah, I just ran payroll, and then after you get done running, you have to. There's like an X in the top left to exit out back to your screen, and I got a whole kind of loading error. I was like, oh no, did it actually load? Looks like it ran.
Death.
Looks like it ran.
And by the way, the streak of teams that lose to the Lions
is over.
Is over.
God, freaking Titans.
Well, they went against the Patriots, so.
But I know it was. I'd like to see because I think it's gotten to more than that. I think if you go to 2 games, I think there's only a couple wins in there. If you go out to 2 weeks,
I don't know.
So, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Lions are the best team in the NFL right now.
That's so weird. It's still so weird to say.
All right. My week, we did more than a couple days. Barely. It was a full week for us. Yeah. Yeah, it was a full week for us. Tuesday was a normal Tuesday day for us.
Oh, my apologies. I'm interrupting you. They are not the best team in the NFL.
Yes, they are.
No, they are not. They are 7-1, while the Chiefs right now are 7-0.
I didn't say they had the best record. I said they're the best team in the NFL.
You know how I know that your guys' season are winding down is when the football talk happens.
They just kind of coincide. It's not our fault. I didn't bring it up. I was going to avoid the whole thing.
You were not.
I was probably to drop it in at some point. Only because we have a good friend of ours. I'm surprised he's not listening. Who is a season ticket holder for the Pack.
He's probably driving home from the Royal.
Probably didn't. It wasn't too disappointed that he missed that game. Anyways, so yeah, we so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, our last 3 days of October. Well, I'm pulling up reports, trying to get there. But we were over $2,000 every day. So yeah, we had a pretty good. I think we did like a $1,300 lunch at the insurance place. It was so bizarre. So we saw all our regulars, which we expected to see. A lot of big orders. We saw a whole lot of people for the first time there. A lot of new customers that day, and I don't know why. I don't know what spurred that. We didn't really do anything too different with any of our marketing stuff for the week. But it was definitely a big surge in new customers. But that day started, so we're across the street from a construction supply place there. They've always been pretty good customers of ours throughout the years. Their staff, one of their managers came over 20 minutes before we opened and asked if they could get 12 sandwiches in 15 minutes to take to another place. It was a $140 order. So that's how the day started, and it didn't really stop until about 12:45. So, yeah, it was a really solid week. Corwell Health West was our kind of our turd for the week. I think it was like a $300 lunch, $400 lunch. But we had a private event that evening, which was $1,800. To get us over that, excuse me, to get us over that $2,000 hump. And then Midwest in Cassopolis on Thursday for lunch, which was a little lighter than we thought it would be. It was still $1,400. But we really thought that would push us to like 16 that day. It's kind of where I was thinking. We didn't see a lot of our outside people that day. Weather was pretty crap. So I'm not sure if some of them, we were only there for 2 hours instead of our normal 3. So I don't know if that had some effect. Like if people were getting there a little bit later, maybe they thought we'd be out of food already type of thing. But yeah, then Halloween night in our neighborhood, we were kind of on the fence about doing a neighborhood for trick-or-treating time. So they had requested us 4 to 7:30. They did $1,100 in an hour and a half. from about 4:30 to 6, and then didn't really see anybody after. Once trick or treating really started, they saw a couple people, but our food isn't super conducive to walking around and eating. So, but yeah, a phenomenal way to end the month of October. We ended up 39.98% over last October, which is a stupid number to say out loud.
And what was your total sales for the week?
Our total sales for the week. So we did a wedding on Friday, and then we were in Nuevo for our last time on Saturday. So we did for the week. Let me get there. Sorry. No, I am in the wrong spot. Hold on a second.
And Skippy, what was yours?
Negligible. $1,100, something like that.
Okay.
Last week,
one had already paid, or the catering had already paid earlier.
Last week, our total sales were 14,791.
Eat a big one. Damn it.
Jesus. I should do a barbecue truck.
Everybody says that until they.
You kind of already went like balls deep in a pasta truck. So
Shut up! I can rebrand that bitch.
You don't want to work this hard.
Yeah. You don't want to get up at 4 or 3.
I get up earlier than that already, dude.
So yeah, we had the catering event Wednesday night. We had the big wedding on Friday. I mean, the wedding was 6 out of that. So yeah, it was a big wedding, and it was our second to last week. So it's our last time at all these locations. That all helped. I mean, we've only been doing 8, 9 a week the last few weeks, and with catered events in there. So
God, that's still amazing.
Yeah, this is the end of year bump that we usually see. Everybody's getting their fix in before we shut down for the winter. So I don't expect it to be that busy this week. Our locations aren't as strong this week. So we're just going to kind of slide into the off season nice and relaxed, I think. If it's busy, great. We'll have shorter days, but yeah, it should be a fairly relaxed a week. We have a catered lunch on Tuesday, just normal locations the rest of the week, and then we have a artisan fair at an elementary school on Saturday to end our year. So,
do you think a question for both of you guys? What percentage of sales from catering would you contribute to ads versus word of mouth and or repeat customer? Just a ballpark, like.
I don't know if there's for me that I don't think there's a way to tell. I mean, I've had people. I always try to ask people how they got a hold of our info, and lately it's been, I Googled it. I'm like, cool, but I don't count that as an ad because I'm not really running anything. I haven't run an ad pretty much all year.
Right. So yeah, for Skippy, it's a little bit different because he doesn't really run ads. A Google search is just that. I mean, they're just searching for anybody. So
I did have a lot of people tell me I was the one who answered the phone.
I don't think we get a ton. Isaac, your recording has stopped. Oh, he had a call.
Son of a.
He's on his phone.
We're going to have to go through that again.
Oh, sorry. I had a phone.
Yeah, I know you had a phone call. So I know it popped up that I saw you.
Yeah, I don't know what that's funny. I'm like, why do you guys stop talking in a phone call?
Yeah, so it let me know that your recording had stopped because it shuts down everything for Riverside, so you can take your phone call. Anyways, I don't know what the last thing you heard was, but yeah, it's hard for Skippy because he doesn't run ads typically. Typically, the only ads I run are our weekly schedule. So that gets an ad boost every week. And then we just have a permanent ad roll in that just puts our food truck name out there. So it just pops up, our page without really any information. It's got a little blurb about us, but that's it. So we rarely run ads that are targeted towards catering. That is not to say that we don't get catering jobs because of people seeing us through those ads. So it's hard to say. I know a lot of our stuff is word of mouth. We get a lot of referrals. We get a lot of people that come to the truck, and then we get a text later saying, I visited your truck at this and this location. I saw that you guys do catering. what's that like? A lot of our stuff comes that way. I'd say the majority of it comes from that. So,
okay.
Majority of mine come that way as well. It's either a Google search, or a we've come to your truck before. We want you to do a wedding for us, or an open house, or
yep.
yeah.
We were gonna do a whole Facebook ad thing for the holiday season for doing corporate catering and stuff. But then, yeah, we got 4 booked the week before Christmas. I'm like, I don't want to work any more than that. You know, that was more than I thought we would get through the ad. So we're not even going to do the ad now. We might still do it. But yeah, I don't want to work all winter.
Yeah,
that was already more than I wanted to work in a week. But the money's going to be good, and I'll do it. But so
you
yeah,
guys definitely have that advantage of the down season. I know it'll look a little bit different for you, Skippy, but you know, it's nice not to have to, you know, grind 12 months out of the year. You know,
and doing 100 hours a week.
Yeah,
I mean, like I haven't had a day off, like a true day off where I didn't have to think about the truck at all since March. So it's been 230 days almost where I haven't had a free day to not either work or do work for the truck.
I think a lot of people don't understand that. So, you know, if you go into some of the Facebook forums, you know, it's everybody wants to start a truck because their tacos are the most amazing tacos that God has ever given this world. You know, and what they don't know is the amount of back end work.
And it's not the same for everybody. I mean,
there's people that just go out and just set up and hope for the best. I mean, they don't do any marketing. They might have a Facebook page that they might post once or twice a month, but they're really just hoping word of mouth is going to be the best way to do. And then
but I think those are the same people that sell their truck or trailer in a few months.
Yep. And you know, like burger trucks, they have a couple hours of prep work every day. You know, so that they can show up to their commissary or hop on their truck at 9 o'clock in the morning and be good to go for lunch. We're 7 hours of active prep time every morning.
But your service time is a lot easier than those burger trucks.
Yes, typically. I mean, it's a lot less active. Yeah. We're assembling. We're not cooking anything during service time. We're just assembling.
Which makes your ticket time
much faster.
Should be shorter.
Yeah.
Right. And it makes your numbers, you know, it contributes to potential better numbers, you know, because you can do more people within an hour.
But if I ever want to not wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I have to hire somebody to be there. So that's where my hours really come in. Like, I'm not on the truck very often,
so here's the thing, right? So I love this podcast because we talk about barbecue, we talk about food trucking, we talk about strategy. The one downfall, and you guys have admitted this before, is the and I say this with 100% all due respect, is the lack of culinary knowledge. So, for example, if you were to take a day, or like say, you know, during your downtime, you know, during your off season, and just play with me here just for a minute, and you smoke 100 brisket, okay, and then you cool that brisket, cryovac that brisket, and then you sous vide the brisket to pick up. There's not going to be a quality difference in that.
I agree.
And that is where potentially you would be able to buy more of your time back during the season. So it's just like I equate it to a bakery.
Well, here, hold on. Let me interrupt. While I agree with what you're saying, the downside is, okay, so let's say we did that, because later in the year, I was, because of our rotisserie, I was cooking for 2 days at a time. Okay, so I had meat being held where the only thing I was cooking was small meats the day of, like chicken or ribs or whatever, or sides. I was still doing the same amount of work, even though I cooked the big meats 2 days early.
It's the same amount of work, but it's positioned differently.
It's not
Right.
though, because I'm still getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning on a day where I don't have to cook or take out the big meats because I still have other stuff that I have to cook that day.
But you see that it's done differently in a sense. So let's use a bakery analogy, for example, because that's what happens in the majority of bakeries. You make 100 baguettes, they go into the freezer, and you have a pull sheet of 15 to 20 baguettes a day. So you're always working from a stock from the freezer. It's the same thing with the sous vide. Yeah, it's the same amount of work, but it's positioned differently to more of your advantage. So Skippy, if you say, you know what, it's freaking Tuesday. My wife's birthday was yesterday, and I don't want to get up at 4 a.m. and smoke. No problem. You've got everything cryovac ready to go because you've done that upfront work ahead of time, right? With no quality. That's the advantage of sous vide, right? Is to be able to buy back that time. Where you say, Skippy, and you say, Josh, I have to be up at 4 a.m. I have to have stuff on the smoker. Yep, you're right. You prison yourself to that form versus working in a different fashion, same amount of time, but not being enslaved to that time frame before you have to hit the truck to sell.
I 100% agree with you that it's the choice, and especially me, it's the choice I made in the way that I wanted to both cook food daily and present to my customers that way. So our dinner customers, our afternoon customers see us prepping briskets and pork butts every day.
Mm-hmm.
That smell is on the smoker with a split smoker with food in.
Yep, that's an advantage. Absolutely.
It is part of the ambiance of what we do.
But just know that there's other.
I know. I'm 100%. I 100% agree.
Just to be able to buy back that time, right? So if and it wouldn't be a bad idea to have just play with me. I don't know your guys' operations. I don't know your specifics, but just play along.
That's right. You don't.
Say you have 20, briskets that are cryovac ready to go, and that have already been smoked cryovac ready to be dropped in the sous vide, just in case those times where you're like, you feel like you're gonna puke, or you had a late night because it was your kid's birthday, or whatever, to be able to have that play around, crutch, if you will. All I'm saying is that there's different options. So for us, so what that means for us, and we're not anywhere near your guys' numbers, obviously, but we make fresh pasta daily. I have, because of a backup, I have a few hundred pounds in the freezer of pasta portioned out, ready to go, in case something happens on one of my other companies that I have to pay attention to, that I don't have time to be able to make that fresh pasta that day. So I have a backup plan for it. So I'm not slave to having to make that pasta that day if I can't, or don't feel well, or something like that. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is that there's other options culinarily speaking to be able to present that.
And I agree with you 100%. And this is kind of one of the cores that we set forth. And I knew it before we started our truck. There was other ways to do it. I know plenty of people that cook once a day for the week. Know plenty of people.
Yes.
There is a very successful barbecue restaurant out west that's got multiple restaurants. But that's the way they do it. They cook, they cryovac, they reheat. Great. It works for them. And it's fine. It's just not the way I choose to do it. And I am fine working the hours that I'm working. But at some point in time, I want to get away from that without changing the way that we at a core do the things that we do.
So let me ask you, let's play this along just two different scenarios. You might be fine with it, and there's no answer to this yet, just food for thought. You might be fine with it, but is your wife? Second question is, you will get to the size that you'll need to hire that out, right?
Absolutely.
Per employee. Yep. And what happens when that employee doesn't show up? Because it will happen.
Oh, I 100% agree. And that's why we have those processes ready. We plan all that out. That's already planned out ahead for when that instance happens. There is backups in place. And don't you think for a second that I don't know what every one of my pits is doing at every second of the day.
But then you become okay, so this is good because I'm dealing with this now. Then you're slave to checking your app to see temperature wise.
If I get alerts.
Your smoker's going. Yeah. If smoke is going, if your employee's showing, you know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying, the walk away is just plan A, B, C,
I
different
mean,
ways to do it than day of.
absolutely. I don't disagree with you, Isaac. But this is the way that I chose to go, and I'm fine with it.
Mhm.
And we will have people on staff, and they're at no point in time. So the way we cook right now, there's not meat going on at like midnight.
Mhm.
Everything goes on at 4 o'clock. I don't have to touch my smoker from 7 o'clock at night until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So there's nothing that can happen overnight with someone not showing up to do other prep work that is going to affect anything else. I'm going to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, regardless if I'm working or not. I get up at 5 o'clock all winter long. I don't sleep past then.
Yeah. Your body wakes up.
So it's all about how you stagger your staff to make sure that there's some sort of lamp over that if something doesn't go right,
Mhm.
there's a backup there before something bad, before you can't go back.
Mhm.
And sure, that means I have to have somebody in. I pay a person an extra hour a day, but then I don't have to worry about it. And that's what I'm talking about. You think of all these scenarios ahead of time, and trust me, I've been thinking about them for 5 years.
Yeah.
How do we get to that point? What does that look like? And then you build in the fail safes that you don't have to worry about it, that I don't have to be a slave to my phone, that I can leave for a week. I've already taken a week off where I haven't had to
But that was stressful. I mean, your words, that was stressful for you.
I checked on things every once in a while, but it's not as bad.
No,
and
but it was
the first time you walk away. Yeah,
for you. Yeah, I get
the first time you walk away from your business for a week, it's going to be stressful.
Dude, the 80th time you walk away from your business is stressful as shit.
Because no matter how much you trust your people, you still wonder, is everything running okay?
And I will tell you from experience that I have in our other businesses, the bigger you get, the harder it is.
Yeah.
You have that key person, you have that, you have your partner, right? That he helps a lot. But the further you get away from that, the harder it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know those two people I let go on Monday?
Oh, I thought I didn't realize it was two.
Yeah. So the story behind that. So the mom, her name is Amparo. She's worked for us for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing worker. I mean, she's 65 years old, and she'll work all three of us together under the rug. I mean, she's that hard of a worker. I went ahead and hired her daughter about 6 months ago, and to do some outside gardening work in one of our businesses. And she just couldn't cut it. And so, I had a discussion with her mom, and her mom said, if you let her go, you got to let me go. And her daughter wasn't working out. It was so much stress on me and one of my supervisors to know if that part of our business was going to get done. I mean, we're talking daily stress, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't be that way for that level of a job that she took. It shouldn't be that way. So we ended up having to let both of them go. And there's been a few.
You couldn't find an alternative job for the daughter?
Oh, bro, it started out as she was my employee, and then she couldn't keep her time. So I'm a pretty chill guy, man. And so I said, hey, these are your times you're going to work. She said, okay. Well, then we had problems. She couldn't meet those times. Okay. And I said, well, what times work best for you? And so, I'll give some freedom. She couldn't make those times. So we went back and she adjusted. I said, okay, she couldn't make those times.
Understand.
And so then then we moved to a contract position. And so she would take on the her side of the payroll, and it just didn't work out. So there was not a position for her daughter. If you can't do the very I can't teach you that, and you guys know that. I can't teach you to be on time. I can't teach you to get your job done on time. That's the job of the parent and society as a whole. I can't teach you that unless if you're 15 or 16 years old. This lady is 30 some odd years old. I can't teach that. And so no, there wouldn't be a position I would even trust in my company to have her daughter work there. And it was sad because they came into a pair. The more you get away from the owner, I feel, and you guys know this, the harder it is, especially when you go past the supervising stage of it, right? So Josh, your right-hand guy, I forget his name.
Chris,
the more you get away from Chris, the harder it is because nobody cares as much as the founder or the founding partners with it. And I still find myself as a business owner looking over my shoulder every day to make sure my staff has completed their tasks, and I'm not a micromanager, but our chefs that we grow for and provide to in two of our businesses depend on our daily deliveries,
Mhm.
and it's been difficult, and I want to walk away. Matter of fact, I'm leaving later this month to take care of some family stuff, and you know, it is I would just normally shut down. You know, we're debt free in life.
Mhm.
So debt free in all my businesses, no debt at all. So walking away for a week wouldn't, it doesn't impact us at all. So financially, and this is the first time that the businesses are going to run while my wife and I are away,
Mhm.
and it's nerve wracking for sure.
It's
Minus
very
the truck. The truck won't operate, but the other businesses will.
Mhm.
And
What
yeah.
do you think
So
I
Josh,
haven't
you're
done it?
lucky you have him, and he sounds vested, and that's great.
Well,
But the more you walk away, the bigger you get, the more you walk. You know, you get away from the founder stage, the harder and the more stressful it is on every level.
yep, I 100%. And I've managed in various industries, and in various places, and um,
And
yeah, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it. And especially in the food industry, you have to hire fast, and you have to fire faster.
yes,
And don't take it personally. None of it's personal, you know.
yep,
Um, and the only way, unfortunately, you're going to find the right people is by going through some bad people.
yeah.
Because I don't care what a resume says.
Oh no,
You can be the greatest judge of character, and I'm a pretty good judge of character. I feel. Um, you're gonna get duped in interviews. You're gonna get duped on resumes. Um,
yeah,
and you have
People
to
know how to
separate.
people know how to sell until they work for you.
Yep. You have to mentally prepare yourself before you even start. That.
yeah. And you have to. You have. I worked for this chef. He was the VP, and he was an old timer, and God, he was such a dick, and he would say, and I'll never forget some of the life lessons he taught me as a business owner, a chef. He'd say you have to inspect what you expect on a daily basis,
Mhm.
and just because these people are smart, when they come work for you, sometimes they have a tendency to be dumb in situations.
And you don't know how they were trained or what the atmosphere they came from and
Correct.
what was acceptable other places.
Yes.
So a clear set expectation for every person that comes into your business is important. And eventually people will know that if they don't meet expectations, that they're going to be looking for another job. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a
No.
dick and boss. It just means that you are going to hold
It,
people that come into your business to a higher standard. And eventually you will get people that want to be a part of that.
mhm. Yeah, yeah,
And
and
that's and that's what
we
we're
let those
striving
two
for.
people go. We let those two
Mhm.
people go, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses, which what
Oh, that
that
explains
translates
it.
to. No, what that translates to is that we have a few other Jehovah's Witnesses that work
Mhm.
for us, and
That's
they
Isaac. That's
no
why
no
she
no
couldn't commit to the times, is because she was out. Oh, never
no
mind.
no no
Anyway,
no. I mean, this is a real thing. This is Skippy. Trust me. Hear me
I'm
out on
just
this. So
kidding. I'm
they're
kidding.
so they were and this is what I failed. This is a good failure. Is that these two young employees that also work for me? They're Jehovah's Witnesses. They're in their 20s. They were pissed off because that I just let their sisters go.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize that. And so I had to explain to these guys, listen, I understand your faith, get it, but you got to understand myself as a business person. If they're not doing their job and you have to pick up their job, that might be okay with you, but
Mhm.
that's not okay in the business world,
Yep.
you know? And that's where really religion and business can kind of conflict a little bit, but that's another topic for another day.
All
But
right. I need to
yeah,
get some comments on YouTube. There are a lot of them. Um, Justin says he did 4,900 this last week. Good job, Justin. He said
Justin,
he
I need
did
a loan.
he did he did a trunk or treat and a roadside and one wedding. Um,
What
Can
he
I ask
doesn't
a
tell you is
question
the
between
wedding was
all?
4,000.
yeah.
This is a question for Justin, Skippy, and Josh, just real quick.
Okay.
And you don't have to answer it now, but if you have, and I know where you're at, Josh, on this, I think, but say you have a calendar and you're booked, right?
Mhm.
You've booked in August, you've already booked for October, right?
Mhm.
You've got all the days, and then suddenly at the beginning of October, you get this opportunity to do a catering or an amazing trunk or treat that you've done previously that you weren't booked for. Do you, and say you were at a neighborhood, say like on the 26th, you were supposed to be at a neighborhood, right,
Mhm.
of October. Would you ever bump
No.
that neighborhood for a bigger event?
No.
I'm gonna answer that, and Skippy, I want you to hold your answer. I want to get to the rest of these comments first, and then
And Justin, I want to hear yours too, Justin. So
Yeah.
pay attention.
Justin says he did not do barbecue because of the time. When he started catering on the side in 2016, he purchased a smoker and a grill trailer with the intention of doing barbecue. Yeah, regardless of how you do it, barbecue takes a lot of time, and that's just the nature of the beast. Bernie says, just cook overnight like me, and you won't have to wake up at 4 o'clock. 11:30 p.m. alarm is really awesome. So yeah, I mean, you're going one way or the other. So Bernie, all those that cook overnight, you're either doing it one way or the other. So you're either staying up later, or you're getting up early. And for me, Isaac, another thing is that with our family schedules, and yes, my wife is okay with me being up at 4 o'clock. She leaves the house at 6:30. So we have a couple of young children. Everything works with our schedule.
Perfect. That's awesome.
And everything, and Skippy and I have done barbecue competitions forever, and everything gets timed very precisely with what we do. And that didn't change for me when we started the truck. Everything is down to the minute. Everything gets done, at least for me, every day. It is exactly the same from 3:30 in the morning to 9:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock in the morning. That whole process, it doesn't matter who's there, is exactly the same every day.
And the moment you try to change that just to see if something else works,
everything gets fucked up.
It just fucks everything.
My biggest problems are like if we do, like we have just a wedding one day and it's in the evening, like a 5:30. We're like, all right, let's put meat on later in the day. Let's do it like 7 o'clock so I don't have to wake up. Dude, everything gets all jacked up. I get so behind because I think I have so much extra time.
You end up rushing.
And all of a sudden, the last 2 hours before the wedding, we're running around like with our heads cut off. So yeah, we just keep the schedule the way it is. It just works better for everybody. Anyways, where was I? Justin, I can cook for a 200 guest wedding in 3 hours. 2 pastas, grilled chicken, 2 sides, and a salad. Awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Blah, 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 blah.
He also said regular service on the food truck is an hour of prep. And that's it's awesome. And that's what we chose. I mean, I could have done a burger truck, we love to do barbecue. We feel like there is a whole lot of bad barbecue in the area, especially off of food trucks and in restaurants around here. There's a whole lot of good burger trucks in our area. So we go to where there is the gap in the service and where we think we can do well. Steve says, Isaac, that is the strategy of a brick and mortar. We smoking D's. 100 briskets is also $7,500 minimum plus other proteins. Also, the space to store is quite extensive.
Yeah, he's right.
Agree. And that's so we are already operating in a gray area.
Correct.
We have a 3-door commercial fridge in our garage that we use for raw product. It stays the temp. I got alarms on it. I got probes inside of it. I know what that fridge is. Yeah.
If I had a walk-in cooler, some things may change, but until then, I've worked in a restaurant where they pre-cooked everything, and the only thing that was fresh that day is probably the mac and cheese, and even that really wasn't that fresh. They just made it. They assembled it that day. Yeah. They boiled the noodles the day before. So I've worked in that spot, and it grossed me out every single time. Now, again, I will do it because I think 12 hours isn't that bad. And if it's good enough for Texas, it's good enough for pretty much everywhere else because most Texas barbecues.
Fucking Texas.
I know.
Josh, I hear you.
Nothing against you. No, I'm sorry. That was fucking Texas barbecue.
Yes,
is what I meant.
Texas
to say. Not just Texas. I love Texas.
They cook everything and they throw it in a warmer for the next day.
Not everybody.
The high end, the higher well-known places. Let's put it that way. So it's. While that may be good, and that may be what I do when I start the cafe, just because of I don't like the fact that right now if I cook overnight, everything's in my driveway. If something messes up, I can run out there real quick. Otherwise, it's going to be 20 minutes away. Mm-hmm. So I thought about cooking the day of for the next day and just doing the small meats in the morning, which I think can work. But sorry, Josh, go ahead. Keep continuing with comments.
Yeah. Mama Fran says, as a business owner, the success and viability is strictly the responsibility of the owner. Customers love the dedication.
Very true.
Back to Steve. No disrespect to Isaac. That always means that something disrespectful is coming.
Is that Bubba?
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay.
Steve Rodriguez.
But barbecue is a different beast. Look at some of the YouTube videos.
Stop touching the microphone, Josh.
I can't help it.
Stop, please.
Look at some of the YouTube videos on 24 hours at a barbecue food truck. Smoky Joe's in El Paso is one, and Joe Yim's 24 hours at Black's.
Yeah, it's just what I'm saying is that there's other options.
Yep.
If you think, let me tell you something about business. If you think there's only one way to do it in your line of business,
No.
you're 150% in the wrong.
Absolutely.
The best thing you can do as a business owner is open up your damn eyes and look at other industries and other facets of your current industry. Just because this is how they do it in the barbecue world, trust me, that is not the only way.
Yeah, and there's plenty of barbecue places that do it like you said. Yeah, that are very successful.
Yeah, just as
Skippy and I would care for those kind of sales.
And Steve's right. I don't know the ins and outs of your guys' world. All I know from a chef and culinary and operational standpoint is that the more I gain is from reading from other industries and looking around and asking questions.
And Isaac, for me, I think that barbecue from a culinary standpoint can be taken so much further than anybody has already taken it.
Yeah.
The majority of people think barbecue is grilling.
Correct.
And I'm not even saying that. I'm just talking about even our Texas barbecue. And we've talked about this before, and Bubba freaked out on me. That there is no reason there cannot be a Michelin star barbecue restaurant.
Yeah.
And he says it's been tried. No, it hasn't. Someone opened up what they considered a fancy restaurant and still served the same shit that we're serving at our trucks.
See what he said is wrong.
On the same platter.
They've been saying the same thing about taco places, and this year is the first Michelin starred taco restaurant in the United States.
I mean, you have Aaron Franklin, who's a James Beard Award winner.
Exactly.
No one thought that was possible. Can't be done. All they understand is their own little small world.
Yep.
And no offense to anybody, but it is true. The more you just look and broaden your scope from the little minutia that you have to do on a daily basis, the better.
Unfortunately, barbecue guys can get super laser focused on
John,
their very things. Yeah.
It's not just barbecue.
I know, but barbecue people are even worse. If it's not Texas style, then don't even bother. Because that's the only thing that does well. So, back to Justin. He said he's learned to be patient on his bookings, but once you're booked, you're booked. In the beginning, he was so pressured to fill the calendar that he would say yes to any request. I would also give poor setups, too many choices just to fill the calendar.
I have to tell you a quick, real story here, just real quick. You guys will laugh, Justin. You guys will all laugh. So I was booked for this apartment complex, and I did $300-400 the last time I was there, and then I get a phone call from a friend of mine, and he says, "Hey, I can't go to this farm for this Oktoberfest, but you should go because I made in that's a lot of money for us. I made in 2 days $5,000. I'm like, oh man, I would love to. What date is it? Oh, I'm booked at this apartment complex, and so I didn't go. And my other friend picked it up. He walked away with almost $6,000. I walked away with like $230. I was like, shit, and it got me thinking because Josh, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that cancels bookings for other bookings. But then I think, how can I get to the promised land of $250,000 for my reach goal if I don't have some type of fluidity to my schedule? But maybe Justin's right. Maybe it is about not booking months and months in advance. I just don't. I felt so bad walking away from that type of money just to walk away with $230 in my pocket while my
But
friend,
that's happened.
you know,
That's happened to everybody. I mean, it's
yeah, I guess.
hindsight is 2020. When I was down with knee surgery, I gave away $25,000 in business. I
Hmm.
gave it to people. Like, could I have figured out how to do it? Yeah, I probably could have found somebody to pull my trailer and whatever the case may be. But it's yeah, and I'm paying for it now. I mean, I'm still in the green, which is fantastic, but you can't look back on what you could have. You can only remember, okay, I know this was a banger last year. I'll be the first one to reach out to them and see, hey, are you booking for this year?
Yes,
Because I want to be
yes.
there. And then you can start planning ahead. Don't plan for the past. It doesn't just every day is a new day. When you wake up, don't remember what you did yesterday. Remember what you're going to do tomorrow. Like
No, it's true. It was just so hard. It was a hard. I don't want to be that guy because a lot of customers. So before I started the food truck, I did a poll on our restaurant Facebook page here in San Antonio, and a lot of people's complaint about food trucks hosts complaint was that they bailed at the last minute, and I see it all the time. You guys have talked about it. I don't want to be that guy, but also it was really disheartening to see the money that you walk away from, at the last minute. A venue needs somebody, and you can't respond to it because you were booked at this apartment complex that may or may not have promoted you. But I hear you, Skippy, and that's I'm in my mind. I'm saying for next year, don't get booked up so fast in October.
well, here's the thing:
know,
as so you can also do this another way. You can contact realistically. I mean, do you want to do this? Maybe. Do you? I mean, take it for what it's worth. And I've done it before. Is you can contact the organizer and say, "Hey, I'm telling you this because I want to come to where you are, but I have this amazing opportunity." Explain to them the opportunity. Can we reschedule? If it's an
Mhm.
event that they're having that day, it's probably not going to happen. If it's
Mhm.
just you going to, a neighborhood, maybe you can schedule it for the next day or something of that nature. I'm not saying do that every single time, and don't do it unless you know that whatever you're taking is a guarantee. Like, I would do that maybe for a catering that's 4 or 5 grand, but it'd be hard pressed. I've given away a lot. We actually have over on the east side of the state here, we have 4 or 5 barbecue trucks that refer each other business. And
Mhm.
honestly, that's the best way to do it, because if you give something away, more than likely you're going to get something in return. And that's how
Sure.
we roll over here. But that'd be the only way that I'd ever cancel something, or is I would never try to cancel it. I would try to reschedule it.
Yeah,
So
I like the rescheduling. And then one thing I didn't. So I've been grinding 7 days a week since we opened up in August. And one thing I didn't factor in, which was a mistake, which Josh, you touched on it just a little bit on one of the podcast episodes, is buffering in a reschedule day. Like say for example you're taking 2 days off a week, right? Which is an advantage, right? If you take 2 days off a week, because at least one could be a buffer if you had to cancel, because of or move,
Yep.
right? In your case, Skippy, move a neighborhood to be able to take on a better opportunity. And I failed. I didn't think about that. I didn't realize that the apartments, the majority, would be shitty. And I don't want to blame the venue of the apartment, although in my hearts of hearts I know it's probably that. But I want to be that business owner that takes on the responsibility and promotes it. So what that means, Josh, in your world is for me to learn, Facebook ads, right? To be able to leverage that little mini community around that apartment complex to get business.
well, it's also as simple as asking the organizer what type of marketing they're doing.
Yeah, they'll tell me.
Before you say yes, what are you guys doing to help promote us being there?
Yes,
And
that's
if they
that
can't
is
tell
yeah.
you, or if they don't give you the answer that you're looking for, and you can feel free to let them know what you need to break even. Like, is it worth my time? If I'm not making $500, am I breaking even? Is it going to cost me more for the propane and generator to come to your spot? ask them that before you just say, yep. In my first year, I was taking everything I possibly could to build the name. It's all about the name in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I've been a little bit more stingy about who I take on.
I think that's where I need to be, Skippy, because I took everything and it's the same. To me, it's the same amount of work if I drive out to Josh's apartment complex and do shitty, or drive out to Skippy's complex and do amazing. It's the same amount of work to get there, to prep. And in those 3 hours of there's only so much you can do, so much you can clean and stuff when you're dead and when you're slow. And then, for me, I go into this negative spiral in my head. Sometimes if it's super slow and I only done $80,
yep.
And because you still got to drive
start
home.
Getting on Facebook and marketing.
That's correct. And that's where Josh, you and I talked about that on the show. But that is, you're right, Skippy. And I hope after this first 6 months to a year that we will be able to be more selective and more thoughtful in who we take on, and better questions that we ask of apartment. I guess in this world, this perfect world, I would use apartments as fill-ins. Our neighborhoods in some of these surrounding towns of San Antonio are older, super rich, and we've done well there.
Have you done your Facebook now, or stalking about other food trucks and where they go?
Not. So I run. There's 3 other amazing food trucks that are in my area that have really helped us, given us some cool inside info as far as names and locations to go to and stay away from, and so yes, in a way, I haven't gotten to your guys' point where I want to be able to do lunches and dinners 5 days a week. I'll be honest with you, running a truck, and this is a good, this is maybe where the downfall is of a truck that cooks, is that when I run the truck by myself, I'll do a lunch, say at school, a lunch for teachers, and then I'll go out for dinner solo, and I'm exhausted. And I don't know if it's my age that shows, or how you guys do it. I mean, you guys do the upfront work of smoking on the back end, so you're slicing and serving. For me, it's just slightly different with a cook time, but I would love to get to that point where either I could do a roadside, and then go out to dinner, or do a dinner and then a roadside. That's one thing I envy about both of you guys. You guys could do that. I don't have that confidence yet.
I didn't do that in my first year. Most of my first year, I was dinner service most of the time.
Well, and a lot of times you're doing just one or the other now, right, Skippy?
Yeah. I mean,
that's rare.
Yeah, I've done more lunches this year, or more doubles, but for me to find a spot to set up in our small little community, I'm driving an hour if I wanted to go somewhere. I've tried going to an industrial complex or office complex, basically, and I might get 20 orders, but to drive an hour and 10 minutes and then drive back to a neighborhood in Ann Arbor, which is 30 minutes, and then another 40 minutes home. I didn't find the use of it. I could just stay in one spot maybe and just do a whole day. And Isaac, to correct you, and Josh, as you, I'm on the Michelin guide. There are 2 1-star Michelin star barbecue restaurants. One is in Singapore called
doesn't count.
Called Burnt Ends. And one is in Taiwan.
Oh my God!
And I'm not going to try to.
I think we said United States, buddy.
Look at Texas.
All right.
Now there are the other distinctions is Bib Gourmand, which is the little Michelin guy. I didn't realize it was like Michelin tires. It's who sponsors all those.
That's why they did it, so that they could sell more tires.
Yeah, there's the Bib Gourmand, which is very good quality food, and there's a ton of Bib Gourmand restaurants and or barbecue, I should say. But
have you watched that documentary on the oldest? I think she's the first female pitmaster.
Mama Snow.
Yeah, here in Texas. I met her a couple of times, and she's cool.
She's
cool.
When I had drove down to Texas, I ate at Franklin's in Austin, and then she was my second spot, my only other stop that I was going to make while I was there. And I drove there that morning, and they were closed due to COVID.
Oh,
they weren't able to run.
Dude, she's a janitor, and then she would come and work over at Snow's. Dude, she's a no bullshit lady. I like her.
Mm-hmm. And seeing that style, it's a whole different breed of animal.
Yep.
Being able to do that, and they're only open 1 week or 1 day a week. Yep. But like Franklin's, they're cooking every day, you know. And
different beast.
It's a different attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
You have less margin for error. If I'm cooking for a whole week, I can fix stuff a whole lot easier that way. You know.
Yeah.
You get a bad stretch of brisket or whatever, and it happens. There's just some weird briskets out there. You get more opportunity to fix. You don't have to pay as close attention to it. You know. You can mix in some better brisket with some of the other brisket. But for us, every one of those briskets has to be on the money coming off the smoker. We don't have opportunity to fix mistakes that way. And that attention to detail, I think, is what makes it, for me, more fun.
Especially if you're slicing brisket.
Mm-hmm.
Like we serve chops. So if we overcook it a smidge, it's not going to ruin our day. But if you're serving sliced and you undercook it or even overcook it, you will not get a slice and you'll end up serving chopped. And
back to calendar, since I haven't gotten to jump in on this, and I know, Isaac, you said you know where I stand on that. But as far as scheduling for next year, my goal is to have my schedule full, my tentative schedule full by mid-January, and it will be for the most part. Now, how we do that and still make room for catering and other things, festivals and stuff like that, is one, we have very good relationships with all the people that we set up with now. So all our roadside locations, we have a very good continuous relationship, even through the winter. And we have set expectations of how things go. For the most part, all our roadside lunch spots, they're not set in stone big events. So like our normal Tuesday lunch spot is an insurance company, financial planning and insurance.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And it's just on a corner in a small sub town of a town. Mm-hmm. And we go there every Tuesday. For us to 2 weeks out, move corporate lunch into that spot is not a big deal. Now for like evening stuff and subdivisions, the ones that we schedule, again, we have very good relationships with. There's only one subdivision that I won't change a date on, and that's because they have very designated slots for trucks. So when you take one of the slots, that's your spot. There's not moving it one day or the other for the most part. But a couple of the other ones, it's a less super organized community event, and it's just a good spot. Like one of them, we're the only truck that ever goes there, and we're there about once a month. And if I get something else within 2 weeks, I can say, hey, can we just slide this one day or the other, or find a different spot on the month where we might have a gap. And it's not a big deal. And those are the kinds of locations for both dinner and lunch that we're seeking out, you know, for when I'm doing my schedule in January. Those ones will all get spots on the calendar first thing. And then I can start filling in the other stuff. So all the spots that I know that we have some flexibility with are going on the calendar. They'll be there. They'll be there soon. Even like our distillery on Fridays, where we have opportunity to be there from 11 to 7 or 11 to 8. But they also know that if we have events coming in, we give them 2 weeks notice, and then we will only be there for lunch or we won't be there at all. That gives them plenty of opportunity to be able to swap out and find somebody, or we can help them find another truck. And in a lot of cases, we will find other trucks for some of these spots. But as far as like festivals, school events, like there's plenty of like field days and stuff that we do. We have a couple of those family nights at elementary schools and stuff. that they're okay nights. We've turned down $6,000-$7,000 weddings to still do those events. We're locked in. We're locked in, and it sucks because every year we turn down known money. I've had small weddings that we've booked, like 2 small weddings that add up to like $3,000, and have had to turn down a larger wedding that we just couldn't make work. And it's like, fuck. if only this person would have reached out to us 2 weeks sooner, we could have done the one big wedding instead of these 2 small weddings. And that's just that's part of the game. And now we are trying to build our business in a way that we don't have to say no to, especially like catering. For me, having my own commissary, that's awesome, because then I don't have to say no ever to a catering job. We can roll out our roadside and still do catering out of the commissary type of thing.
Yeah.
For me, that's more important than opening up a brick and mortar, like a cafe, like what Skippy's doing. That's my next step, is to have some sort of commissary that I can run catering out of. Because
in mind that's what I'm doing.
Well, but you're still doing.
I'm still selling
in-house.
there.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Oh, we lost Isaac. He's in the lobby again. Oh, this could get weird.
Oh boy.
Isaac? Hello? Isaac? I'm confused that he's... Uh-oh.
Oh, he's gone now.
He's gone now. But yeah, back to some YouTube comments. Justin says that he's off Mondays and Tuesdays. He uses Tuesday as his buffer day to be able to add on stuff. Said it's landed on some Christmas parties.
Oh, there's Isaac again. Ish.
Are you back, Isaac? Hello?
Housekeeping.
I could turn his camera on and see if we can see him. Steve says, Isaac, what's an average? I can't help it. What's an average ticket number and time of service? Josh, how long did it take for you to develop this strategy? Sorry to be such a pest. Steve, no problem. I don't know that it was really.
Nobody likes me.
I don't know that it was definitely a developed strategy. I think it's just kind of how we settled in. Isaac, I'm not sure if you're still listening or if you can hear us or not, but there seems to be some problems with your stuff right at the moment. So I'm going to try to kick you out. If it'll let me. I can't even get to... All right. We're going to ignore Isaac for the moment. My nature is to develop relationships, especially in a business standpoint. So for me to be on good terms with that and not backing out on people, it's just human nature to me, type of thing. So I've always wanted to get the schedule filled as early as possible. It gives me anxiety to go into mid-March when we open and have open things in April. Because I know that when we start, there's so much to do once we get going. It's time that I don't have to spend usually, is to try to fill those spots super actively as we go through the season. So it's worked for us. Our lunch spots really hit. This sometimes results in us being in bad places, new places, for too long or for the whole year. Just because at that point we're not really looking and we're not in the mindset to find new spots, but I mean, we've definitely taken places off the schedule for the year and found other spots. It's just worked for us. I don't know if that answers your question or not, Steve. It's just kind of how we settled in. So for this off season, we're done on Saturday as our last, more or less, day. We have the day before Thanksgiving where we're open to the public for the Free Beer and Hot Wings show. And then, I will take some time to myself and through the holidays for family and stuff through December. But yeah, January rolls around. I'm already going to have, like, our Tuesday lunches are already going to be on our calendar when I start actively scheduling. I'm already reaching out to events that we like. Those organizers, that's happening right now. We're not waiting for them to send out stuff. So, and granted, we're not going to be able to book those events because that's not how they work, which is fine. But I'm going to find out a date that they are, and those dates get blocked off the calendar. So if we have festivals that we really, really like, those dates get blocked off the calendar. So we don't schedule on those dates. Now, if something comes through where someone says they have a 300-person wedding and we haven't filled out paperwork for those events yet, then yeah, we're going to do the 300-person wedding probably and take the guaranteed $6,000 day versus.
But let me ask you a question.
You're there,
Isaac.
Yeah.
Look
Sorry.
We weren't sure.
Look who's
Shit,
back.
I'm not even sure either.
Back
So
again.
let me ask
Isaac's
a
back.
question. So
Tell
say
our friend.
say it's April, Josh. Okay, and you're booked for I don't know, say the 18th of November for a community, and in April they somebody reaches out to you for a wedding that happens to be that day in November that you're booked with what are you doing? Are you going to reach out to that community and move?
100%, yeah. Especially if it's one of the 4 that we have this ongoing agreement with. If I were to show you our calendar from this year versus last year, 80% of those spots are the same year to year. At this point, we're not going to a whole lot of new locations for roadside stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the ongoing relationships were. Our hosts understand kind of how the business works. Unless it is like Skippy said, unless it's an organized, orchestrated event. And sometimes those happen. Like there's, a neighborhood will do a movie night or whatever, or there's fireworks or whatever. If something like that is a major neighborhood event, then yeah, we're probably going with it being 6 months in advance. I will ask around to some other trucks. If I can find someone that's available for that November date, then I might offer that up to the neighborhood. Said, hey, I don't think we can make it. Something else has come up. I have found another truck that's willing to take our spot. Will that suffice?
Now, do you think it's, my friend of mine and I, who he helps me a lot with the marketing. I've worked with a guy for 20 years. We were talking about this the other day. Like, do you think it's a turn off if say Josh, you run an apartment complex and you reach out to us and say, man, Olaf Asta, we want you to come to our apartment complex. And we say, okay, well, these are the dates we have available. And so you as the manager, you pick the dates. And we say, okay, listen, I'm just letting you know you're booked for these dates. To be fully transparent, if a catering comes up or a guarantee comes up, then that's a possibility of a bump to those dates for you. We try to give you as much notice as possible if that happens. Unless if you want to guarantee, Josh, as the manager of this apartment complex, for us to be there, then we would ask for a guarantee to hold the spot. I'm trying to figure out if that's
I think that's a fine thing to say. I think being open, honest, upfront, and transparent with everybody you work with is the way to go. There are so many trucks that won't say anything and just not show up.
Hey, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, they'll just not show up, or they'll let them know a day ahead of time. For me, it's 2 weeks.
Oh, that makes sense.
If I can't give somebody 2 weeks notice, I'm not going to bail on them 100%. Unless it's one of our like 3 subdivisions where I can just slide them a day or a week and it's not a huge deal. But yeah, for the most part,
because I don't want to walk away from some of this, like, and I know, Skippy, I know it's because we're new and we don't have those relationships that both of you guys have with those folks yet. And I know we will get there.
Which means you can't burn any bridges right now.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. It just, but here's the thing, right? So say Josh, again, you have this apartment complex. You reach out, we book a cluster of dates. So let's just say 4 dates. And then we hit the first date and we do $200 in sales. And you say, okay, well, maybe it's just because we're new to this community. It takes a little bit. Second time you hit maybe 250 in sales. And then you say to yourself, well, shit, I've still got 2 more dates booked. Sales haven't been amazing. Do you still fulfill those 2 dates?
Can I take that one?
Absolutely. Because you and I are very different on this, but
so for me, I think it all starts with what type of information did you get as an owner to see, about these apartment complexes? Have they ever had food trucks in the past? What questions are you asking them to gauge the amount of sales you may get? Number 2 is I give a place two times. I won't book more than 2 times with them, because if the first time sucks, I'll say, okay, just like you just did. Maybe it's just because I'm new, or I didn't ask the right questions, or I asked the right questions, but it was just an overall bad day. I'll give them one more shot. And if that second time I'm still not making what I need to make, then if they try to book me for a third time, I'll have that conversation like you just said and say, hey, the last 2 times we haven't hit our break even mark. We're more than happy to come out again, but there has to be, unfortunately, we'd have to ask for a minimum of X amount of dollars. We have to break even on places that we go. Nothing against your people or anything, but it's more of,
skin in the game.
That's how you would do it. Is if they're asking you to come out, there has to be something that you get in return. Obviously, sales is number 1. Now, on the flip side, is if you do book more than 2, I don't look at a neighborhood or an apartment complex as a money maker. We always hope it is. What I look at is if you go to a subdivision or you go to a neighborhood or something like that, how many business cards can I give out? There's your catering. People will ask you, well, do you do catering? If you go in November, you hope that they're going to remember you in March when they start booking for their son's graduation party. So those are the other things. It's like a 6 in one hand, half a dozen the other. Is if I choose, like 2 weeks ago, I went to a pause parade in our downtown area that was deader than a doornail. I mean, there was nobody there. I had a great day, and as a customer, it was awesome. Boy can eat too. So, but I also gave away 4 business cards. Well, maybe I'll get something off of it. Maybe I won't. But it was my choice to continue to make that. I didn't have anything going on. Could I have found something different that might have made $100, $200 more? Possibly. But was it there, and I knew I could give out business cards to people? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring up catering, that's your best way to do it. Is if you're gonna do that long block of dates, you want to hope something comes out of it, whether it be a minimum or whether it be you send out 500 business cards and get one deal off it, because that'll make your day.
So maybe you're right about not booking in clusters. I try to do, maybe that's my fallacy, is I try to book clusters to book the calendar, and maybe that's the way I was doing.
That's the way I was doing it too. We actually had we have a person, and Josh has met him, that would book subdivisions for everybody. And he has 100 subdivisions that he books trucks for. Some do it weekly, some do it monthly, some do it, bi-weekly. And we can ask the other people that have been to those subdivisions how their sales were. So we can know whether it's, most of the subdivisions I would go to are 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes away. So for me to travel that far, I got to make $1,000. I mean, that would be my goal for that day. And there are some that did that, and there are some that don't. But I think it does. Going back to my original point, I think whatever you say to start off the conversation with X and X apartment complex or subdivision will lead you to your answer. If they've never had a food truck, I wouldn't expect your first day of sales to be the best. If they've had them, maybe reach out to one of the other food trucks that have been there and say, hey, I'm new. Can you give me an idea of what to expect? I've done that a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I will answer that in a different way, and then we got to wrap up the show.
I have one more question after that, though.
Oh my
Okay, so go
God!
ahead.
Nope. Ask your
Hey,
question.
I told
first.
you it was going to be long.
No, we don't. I don't have time.
We don't have time for
we
long.
have time.
We have no time for long.
I don't even remember what I was going to say. We'll hang in there. Because just like anything, any new location, especially in a new area that we don't normally set up in, it takes time to build up a base. Just like when we first opened our truck, it took time to build up a base. If we bailed on all those beginning locations that didn't work out great for us in the beginning, we wouldn't have done a $1,400 lunch last Tuesday.
How many times do you give, Josh?
It's usually a minimum of 3 for me. That gives me a good average. But we had an apartment complex in an area that we used to be set up in at a brewery and had to bail on the brewery because they opened up their own food. So we thought this would be a good spot to get some of those people back to us. And it just didn't work out that way. So yeah, they were slower dinners for us. It was a slower apartment, but as the year went on, it started to pick up. So we started word of mouth kind of started trickling through. We started getting more and more people from the apartment complex. Is it someplace that we're going to add on next year? Maybe a couple times. But because we do lunch and dinner service, we make our money at lunch. Our break even is always in there at lunch. So for us to roll into an apartment complex or whatever and only do $300 out of the 2.5 hours or 3 hours, it's not a big deal for us. Because it's all profit. All I'm paying is somebody. The only extra cost I have is in the gas to get out there, the gas to run the generator, and then one of my employees $30 for the couple hours that he's there.
Okay.
So for me, it's an easy call to make another
$15 an hour,
to make another few $100 and to increase our customer base.
Okay.
Okay. What's your other question?
Okay. Last question. You're at an apartment complex. Dinner time 3 hours for the service time. You're at hour 2. You've made $50. Do you fold and leave?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Hey guys, thank you so much for letting me be on. No, this is great. And when I was introduced to you guys, I always have 1,000 questions, and I still have 1,000 questions. So thank you guys for always being there to answer those, and really the work you guys are doing has been so helpful. I listen to your guys' podcast
content. And show us how much messages he sent us.
I listen. It is a lot. I listen to these weeklies multiple times in a week's period, and it's always soothing. You guys and Dave Ramsey because he's dead for you a little bit.
Wow, we're in the same group as Dave Ramsey.
Basically the same.
But no, seriously. I mean, seriously, you guys have really helped. I really appreciate y'all.
I'm glad that that you're getting so much out of it, and we appreciate the questions and comments because it gives us stuff to talk about.
Sure.
We definitely run out of stuff to talk about, especially during the season. The show seems easier in the off season, because I think our brains get to shift gears a little bit into other stuff. So
I would love to help you guys out and be on. I always have a billion questions and thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Isaac. Have a good week. Business will pick up. It'll turn around. Don't worry.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh. Isaac, you're still there.
Shit, I think I'm still on. Shit. See, I don't want to. Why? I don't want it to leave, guys. I need all the help.
There's no help. We're leaving.
He's
all right. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
I got one more comment. One more comment from Steve. He said, doing farmers markets in LA, it took 90 days on a regular basis to get established. Like Skippy related, for us, it resulted in New Year's Eve wedding for 400 people, 3 miles from the Rose Parade. So, yeah, you never know what one thing's going to lead to another. So, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. I liked having a third person on for part of the show or all the show. It was a nice change of pace. Let us know how you guys enjoyed it. And we can do this again with some various people now that we're getting to some off seasons for some other trucks too. So
yes.
Thank you, everybody. And stay tuned for information on next week's show. Next week is the Food Truck Owners Expo. I don't think we're going to have a Monday show because I'll be traveling. Skippy will be at World Foods. So we're kind of working through that, but we will be live from Food Truck Expo. So look for that. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.